master. This is why during slavery they used to take the sister, and then they would take the sister and then they would put her baby on the ground, and then they would take the European lady's baby and make that baby suck on the sister's breast to get milk. Right? And it wasn't a thing out of disrespect for the baby. It was a thing about, well, yo, that's the best milk. Like, why am I gonna give my child my sour milk when I could give her the best milk? Why am I gonna, you know, why not drive the Benz? Right? So white people, this is a definition from Law Dictionary, or sorry, the Naturalization Act in 1870. Right? White people includes all European Jews, more or less intermixed with peoples of Celtic, Scandinavian, Teutonic, Iberian, Latin, Greek, and Slavic descent. It includes Magyars, Lapps, Finns, and Basque and Albanians. It includes the mixed Latin, Celtic, Iberian, and Moorish inhabitants of Spain and Portugal. The mixed Greek, Latin, Phoenician, and North African inhabitants of Sicily. The mixed Slav and Tartar inhabitants, etc. Right here, it does not mean Caucasian race, Aryan race, or Indo-European races. So when you say white people, you're not talking about European people, because those guys could never be the white people, because the white people were the purest people. That's why white is synonymous with purity. And then white and black doesn't have anything to do with your complexion, it has to do with your status. So you're the white people, and white power is really your stuff. And black power is really their stuff. But because they have to do everything by reversal, they have to reverse everything. They have to make the brother act like the sister and the sister act like the brother in order to have power. They have to get you to think that you're the black people and they're the white people in order for them to have power. But they would never call themselves white people. They always call themselves Irish, British, German, whatever. But if you want to call them white people, then hey, cool. You know, no problem. So it's all games that they run. But once you know the game, if you have, let's say it's a card game, 3-card game. For how much ever money. If you know the game, if you know how the card game runs, you're not going to get game. And then the card guy is not going to want to play with you because he only wants to play with people who don't know the game. They're no different than dice. There's ways to roll dice so you get the same thing every time. That's the game. How you roll the dice. All this and back to back and all that doesn't mean nothing. It's about how you roll the dice. Because it can only drop a certain way. Same thing with cards. Card games. There's a certain way to, there's no such thing as magic tricks. It's all illusions. It's all getting the mind to do things that you don't really think that the mind can do. Or get the mind to perceive something that we don't really think the mind can perceive. When in reality, it's just a trick. And if they can trick you into thinking that if they can trick you into thinking that, well, you can see that you're a wrong person, but call yourself black. Because, you know, this one guy bought this entertainment company and called it Black Entertainment Television. So now you think that you got something because this black guy owns a black station, but then he sells it to a European. And a few times we came here and spoke about the fact that when you watch all these shows, especially the live shows, they're going to show a video, sister shaking her ass, And then after the video, everybody's clapping. Which means that you're promoting what you just saw in the videos. But then we're going to complain that, well, sisters aren't respected in videos. How come these guys do this in the video, but you're just clapping for it? Even though it was a sign that they put up that said applause and you were fake clapping, it's still, you're still doing it. You're still going through the act.
Yeah.
Right?
Your mom's outside. You can get your mom's outside, yeah.
That's like the act needs to be free and white people.
Say that again?
That's the act needs to be showing free and white people.
That was an act just showing who qualifies as white people in 1870. So if you read like slavery books, okay, for example, Rosa Parks, right? How come she sat at the front of the bus? She was white. She wasn't a black person. She sat at the front of the bus because she was white. Not complexion, but her status. She had a job, she worked, she was doing things that were industrious. So she can't call herself a black person. And for her to call herself a black person would be going against her nature as the powerful sister that she was. So she refused to sit at the back. But even though she refused to sit at the back, when we go on the bus today, that's where we're running to. Right? You know, because because everything that happens on this earth is physical and then it's spiritual. Everything. Like everything happens for a physical reason, but it also happens for a spiritual reason. So the physical reason of us being enslaved by Europeans was because of what we did to them. But the spiritual reason is because we created them in the first place. And then that's what we get for creating a slave. Because that's what we really made them for. And the reason why they quote unquote come from Europe is because they really come from the Caucasus Mountains, and that's where we put them because the sun was killing them in numbers just like it's happening today. And we put them there in order for them not to get killed off. Because when they burn, they get like a skin disease called leprosy.
That's the thing that this is what I was coming to think of.
But you always got suspicion, right?
Yeah, that's
Right? And think about this, like what it, like understand like I'm saying, everything has a physical and a spiritual, right? If you do something bad, they suspend you, right? What is it that our brother and sister was doing on the tree? They were being suspended by ropes by their neck. They were being suspended by ropes by their neck, and the majority of people who get suspended in school is us. Because it's spiritual warfare. Right? It's spiritual warfare. So try not to get suspended, because physically you're going to go home for 2 days or 3 days or whatever, cool, play some video game. But spiritually, you're on the noose. So you might as well just put the rope around your neck and hang yourself. Because really that's what they're doing when they suspend you. They're spiritually putting the noose around your neck and hanging you from a tree. That's why it's called suspension. You can look up suspend in the dictionary right there. It'll tell you to hang something. To suspend it. You got a question, bro?
I was gonna say, how did they actually get to put us in slavery if we actually, had the power at that time?
Also, too, there was ones of us who were down with what
They betrayed.
they basically betrayed. You know what I mean? So if I'm a leader and I'm over here and the European comes and says, yo, I'm building something over there. You're the head guy. I need some people. I'm gonna find the people who look like us that aren't doing nothing and say, yo, take those guys. This guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. I call these guys sleepers. So take those guys. Because they're not gonna amount to nothing anyways. So you could probably do more with them than I can do with them. But when we had, because we had each other in slavery too at some time. You know what I mean? But when we had each other in slavery, it wasn't really the slavery like the hanging on the tree and all that. It was more just, okay, well, you know, come work for me. I might have a daughter, and you might be able to marry my daughter because you've been in my family since you were a child or whatever. And, you know, take my daughter's hand in marriage. Have a good life. You know, because I'm the king of the castle and I say what rules. You know? But they were come back to that same thing of good and evil. There's some of us that were upright and doing good stuff, and then there's some of us that did some messed up stuff. And now we're all paying for it, for that messed up stuff that we did. Anybody else? Any questions or emotional outbursts?
Emotional outbursts. Yes, I just remember when you said that the American name came from Amex or whatever. So I thought it was Pangea. Not Pangea.
Pangea is another name that they use also. Right. One thing is that a lot of there's an era called the Reconstruction era. And the Reconstruction era is basically when they said, okay, you know what, all these ancient artifacts, we're going to put it, make a big pile, and let's have a bonfire. And then we'll just rewrite history and say that, you know, the Greeks, Socrates was the first scientist, and this guy was the first whatever, but, you know, the truth always comes out. You can't, that's why it's not good to lie. The truth's going to come out eventually. Like, it might be 5 years later, 10 years later, 500 years later, the truth's gonna come back out. And when the truth comes back out, there's gonna be some people that are really gonna take that lie as a big deal. You know?
Well, it's true because it's like in school, they always start history from a certain time period. They never,
right?
Like they start from when Christopher Columbus came over here. Found us in the Caribbean.
Right.
They don't start from before that. They don't say where they actually came from. They just start from that
time. And that's too empowering to you. Because if the teacher, like majority of people in any school in Toronto, they can't culturally identify with their teachers. Like they just can't, because there's not enough teachers that look like them. And the teachers that do look like them, they got them teaching gym class and classes that, you know, or they have them teaching, let's say, science. And then he's the meanest teacher, so nobody wants to take his class because, well, yo, that guy, if you go to that guy's class, it's like, oh, he smokes. This guy's going to be on you every day, all day, just because you're a black student and he's a black teacher, and why does it have to be like, but that's how it should be, really and truly. You know what I mean? That's the teacher that should be really looking out for you. If you have a European teacher looking out for you, and you have a quote-unquote black teacher not looking out for you, and he doesn't care if you skip class or whatever, that's a problem. That's a big problem. You know? So, connect with your teachers that look like you. At least try to. It's hard. You know what I mean? Because they even have their own little ego trip that they're dealing with. Or they might be dealing with their own whatever in the workforce that, well, I'm the only black teacher, so, you know, I can't really do what I want to do. Or he's getting his own racism from his own peers. You know what I mean? More than you're getting. But it comes back to that same thing of, you know, just remember your brother and sister that stand in the truth.
Okay, so when you're talking about the Masons, right?
Yeah.
So basically they're like a society of people hiding shit from us, basically.
Yeah and no. Because they're not really hiding nothing.
So what are
you know what I mean? Like, it's just a distraction.